The last thing I wanted to say, strategy-wise, is I think there's an opportunity to use the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities to frame this issue once again as a human rights, civil rights issue. Article 19 of the Convention is titled Living Independently and Being Included in the Community. And it says, state parties to this convention recognize the equal right of all persons with disabilities to live in the community with choices equal to others, and shall take effective and appropriate measures to facilitate full enjoyment by persons with disabilities of this right and their full inclusion and participation in the community, including by ensuring that, 1, persons with disabilities have the opportunity to choose their place of residence and where and with whom they live on an equal basis with others, and are not obliged to live in a particular living arrangement. 2, persons with disabilities have access to a range of in-home, residential, and other community support services, including personal assistance necessary to support living and inclusion in the community and to prevent isolation or segregation from the community. 3, community services and facilities for the general population are available on an equal basis to persons with disabilities and are responsive to their needs. Okay, so this is modern thinking. This is 2007 human rights document that has already been signed on to by over 80 countries. We're working on getting President Bush to sign the treaty. If anybody in this room is interested in making your voice heard on that, we have a petition on our website at aapd.com. We've already got over 1,000 signatures. I encourage folks to sign that and make it clear that you think that we should continue to be a world leader on disability rights and sign the convention. So I'm looking forward to the questions. I want to just do a quick Martin Luther King quote. Dr. King said that human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable, and that it depends on the tireless exertions of dedicated individuals. Everybody in this room is here for a reason. If you didn't care about personal assistance services, if you didn't care about changing fundamentally broken systems in this country, you wouldn't be here. So as far as I'm concerned, you are the dedicated individuals. I'm honored to be here with you, and I look forward to working with everybody in this room to change a broken system. Thank you. So I'm happy to open it up for questions. I don't know if we have a roving mic. It looks like we do. So if anybody just wants to raise your hand, the mic will find you. Mike Oxford up here has a question.
I know we have such a great record of signing human rights treaties in this country. But can you give some examples? I'm just curious, who else has signed? I mean, have European countries, stuff like that, do you know?
Well, I know that there are people in this room who've been more involved in this process than I have. I'm aware that it's been signed by Canada and Mexico. So just within North America, our neighbor to the north and our neighbor to the south has signed it. I know that it's actually been signed and ratified by Jamaica. They're the only country that's already acted to ratify it. My understanding is that a lot of European countries and Asian countries and African countries have already signed it. I don't know, Michael Winter, do you have any examples, or other folks in the room who are more global than I am? Okay. But Mike, we do have a list of countries on our website who've signed it. Again, it's aapd.com. The reason it's not aapd.org is that's the American Association of Pediatric Dentists. Other questions or comments? This is not a shy crowd. Teresa, yeah, and there's a mic right here.
Thank you, Andy, for the acknowledgement. Again, my name is Teresa Rankin. I'm a national community educator with Brain Injury Services, which is a nonprofit organization based in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We have 9 regionally based offices that provide long-term case management, education and advocacy throughout the Commonwealth for people with acquired brain injury. We want to talk about silos of information and breaking down the barriers. Brain injury is the least understood complex neurological disorder in the world. The Dana Alliance on Brain Initiatives estimates 1 out of every 5 individuals over the course of their lifetime will experience a neurological disorder, with brain injury being the leading cause of death and disability worldwide. That is understood by the World Health Organization, but not by Congress or the administration. I want to offer 2 real working points for you as we pursue really the policy issues dealing with personal assistance services. Is that I am a person who survived a traumatic brain injury more than 30 years ago. My family was not able to access comprehensive medical care for almost 12 years. Then to be institutionalized for almost 5 years because there was no hope of recovery. So that my ability to stand before you today was again because of a handful of individuals who believed in the impossible. And as Andy acknowledged, we're now witnessing close to what is estimated to be 30% of the 1.5 million soldiers, Marines, and airmen who have gone to Iraq and Afghanistan returning with some form of brain injury. 30% of 1.5 million. I'd like to encourage you to contact me if you need any further information. And also, our organization is hosting a conference at Williamsburg on June 7th and 8th that will include representatives from the Veterans Administration talking about the aspect of this crisis of care. I think my question actually for Andy is, how do we approach perhaps one of the most powerful institutes in the world, which is the Council of Foundations, which is meeting right now with Bill and Melinda Gates and Warren Buffett in Seattle, Washington. They're the power brokers that we have, and I think.
Well, let me tell a little story. That's a great question, because obviously to do the kind of systems change that we want to do, we have to be funded to do it in one way or another. I had dinner last night with an Eisenhower Fellow who's blind from Ireland. Her name is Caroline Casey. She's 35 years old, and she's probably the most exciting person I've met in my 16 years working in disability. She is going to Seattle this weekend and is going to be driving home a message around the importance of elevating disability issues on the world consciousness. She's already been to Davos and lots of other places. But the interesting thing to me, I don't know if people are familiar with the Eisenhower Fellowship Program. These are 25 world leaders, kind of mid-level, who are brought to the U.S. for about 2 months. She's the first person they've ever had with that fellowship who actually had a disability, and at least that they know of. And she has, I mean, it's just amazing to me, the meetings that she's gotten, but now she's been doing this now for about 6 weeks. Her message to me last night was that at one point she went back to her hotel room and just started crying, because from her perspective, the U.S. is way behind Ireland. She thought we were going to be way ahead of Ireland. And from her perspective, she's amazed at how our constituency is completely invisible in the U.S. as a market and as a political constituency. She's getting meetings with very high-level business folks, very high-level foundation folks. That's been one of her priorities. And they basically tell her, we're not interested in disability because it's too hard. That's the message she's getting over and over and over again. And they're being honest with her because she's from Ireland. She goes back to Ireland. But, you know, we've got a serious problem, which is that the thought leaders in our country, forget disability, at the foundation world, at the corporate world, at every level of government, to a large degree, our thought leaders are not making disability a priority. And a lot of them have concluded that it's not worth the effort because it's too hard. It's too hard politically, it's too hard financially, so it's just something that they avoid. That's a serious problem that we have to address. And if we can't address it, we're not going to be able to address the foundation issue.